Alright gamers, well, it's just in the neighborhood. Thought I'd review a PlayStation 4 game that I've been pretty overdue to review and talk about, and that is Spider-Man on PlayStation 4. Yes, only on PlayStation 4. So sorry for you Nintendo, Xbox, and even PC fans, you're all going to get left in the dust on this one, unless you buy yourself a PlayStation 4, which I'm glad I did, because I was really looking forward to this one, and all I could say is, I'm glad I bought it. So, yes, in case you don't know, no, this is not movie license, or, cartoon license or whatever. It's its own thing. This game does for Spider-Man like the Arkham games does for Batman. So please excuse the fact that I'm going to be mentioning and bringing those games up a lot in this review. But otherwise, let's web sling into action. Web sling my PlayStation 4 controller over here. The web's not working. Screw it. Let me just skip it. Alright, let's go get him, Tiger. Alright, well, upon starting the game, you'll notice that, this game is published by Insomniac Games. Same studio that made games like Ratchet & Clank, Spyro series. So, this is their first shot at a Marvel superhero game, which I was a little skeptical on, being that most Marvel or DC superhero games are made by companies that are more well-known, like Activision, Rocksteady, and so forth. But have no fear, my skepticism and worries were for nothing. We all know Spider-Man has had a huge line and library of video games in the past. Some were good, and others were just plain crap. Basically, this one is trying to start all over again, trying to start fresh, and that's exactly what this game does. You get the intro scene, which looks great. Peter Parker suiting up, jumps out the window, and is ready for action. You gotta love how fluent these controls are. And yeah, as you guessed, this is obviously a tutorial stage to go along with it, to get you to learn all the controls, gameplay mechanics, and everything like that. And web slinging around the open city, man, it's just so enjoyable. And this is just the beginning right here, folks. You should probably take note that, yes, it's in third-person perspective, which is fine. I mean, there's no problem with that. I like to be able to see my character in this kind of game. But, of course, meanwhile, this leads us to our first main mission objective, which is beating up street thugs and criminals. And get used to it, people. You're going to be doing it an awful lot in this game. I mean, there's going to be shit tons of enemies to beat up and take down in this game. And as I said, you can't help but bear a lot of similarities to the Arkham video games. I mean, what else does it make you think about? With all these fighting moves and different types of enemies that you're introduced throughout the course of the game. You got your basic, easy to take down enemies that just throw punches at you, regular sized guys that is. You got guys who carry around different melee weapons, like clubs and tasers and stuff. And of course guys who carry guns, and even ones who carry frickin' rocket missiles. God damn. They really want you dead. But you can't let that happen, so what do? Well, see that little thing up there? Yep, that means your spidey senses are tingling right there. That means you get a quick split second to dodge anything, any punch, any weapon, anything that comes at you, to make combat much more easy, more effective, and most importantly, more fun. Yeah, so you can rack up combo moves, do anything to these guys. And you even get shielded enemies, again, just like the Arkham games. Can't exactly attack them face on, so what do you gotta do? Well, different from the Arkham games, because you don't go on top of them and take them down from above. Instead, you have to slide right underneath them, get behind them, and boom! And of course, later on in the game, you get these big heavy-set-like enemies. Yeah, these guys are a lot trickier to punch, and if you try to punch them regularly like all the other normal-sized thugs, well, you get your ass kicked. So what do? Well, there's different ways to approach. You gotta get a little creative with it. But the one that most people, and myself included, have in mind is throw sticky webs at them, tying them up. Yep, just keep doing it, tap the button, and there you go, they're tied up. But you gotta act quick because they'll eventually get out of it. So this is almost similar to stunning enemies in the Arkham game with the bats. But of course, it's Spider-Man, so what did you expect? Of course he's gonna use webs. So it's best to shoot the webs at him from a distance, and then take him down. Gotta do it a few times and then eventually he'll go down. And yeah, the sticky webs are also useful for any of these enemies, especially the ones with the guns that'll tie them up and to keep them from shooting you. And you can use the web to finish the enemies instantly by tying them up to a vehicle or wall that they're standing next to. Sweet. Easy, but cool. And in the middle of the fight, you can perform what's called the finisher.
Finish him!
Yeah, thanks. This is not Mortal Kombat. But anyway, yeah. Perform it when it obviously gives you the option. Press circle and triangle at the same time, and there you go. Hell, you can even do stealth attacks if you're on the ceiling or above them. Wherever they can't see you, you can take them out as long as another foe doesn't see you. Whether it's from behind them, from above, or even from inside of a vent. Yeah, sound familiar? Okay. I know I compared this a lot to the Arkham games already, but even though it does draw a lot of inspiration, and I have seen much more blatant rip-off video games than this, it does draw a lot of original ideas into this game as well. Like, as I explained, throwing the sticky webs at them, as well as punching them by tapping the square button. You could also hold the square button in to punch them and fling them up in the air. Then, you can continue punching them in the air until they go down. Or if you hold the triangle button in, you can web sling them and throw them down into the ground. Damn, that's gotta hurt. Yeah, you can fling them at other enemies if there's others standing near. And yeah, slow motion. Don't think I have to say where we've seen that before. But hey, here's something original. You can pick things up with your webs and fling them at enemies. I mean anything that's nearby. You can just pick them up, throw them right at them. Boom! That's freaking cool. Oof! That's gotta hurt. Yeah, it's so awesome. And if they're too far away from you, whether you're on the ground, in the air, press triangle. There you go. It'll web you right to them instantly. Punch them right in the face. Yeah! Yeah! Take that! And similar to the Arkham game's detective mode, you get Scan the Environment, which only flashes on a brief second to be able to scan the area for enemies, yet you do it by pressing the right analog stick down. So, yes, it only flashes briefly, unlike the detective mode in Arkham, where it stays on and you have to turn it off manually. So, now that I've established most of the gameplay and fighting mechanics, as you can tell, our main mission is, once again, beating up these thugs and working your way up this tower to make your way to Fisk, also known as Kingpin. And this guy doesn't screw around when it comes to trying to take you down. First, of course, you have to take out these big gun turrets that are trying to shoot you by shooting them with the webs, then rip them out with the webs, then eventually fight him face on. Yeah, this guy doesn't screw around. He will try to kill you. So, you have to basically try to dodge every bit of attack, just like a regular heavyset thug. Throw sticky webs at him from a distance, make sure he doesn't trample you, then beat him up, keep doing the same thing. Eventually, of course, he grabs a hold of you, ramming you through a set of walls and throwing you through another set of them into another room, leading to part 2 of the fight, in which can be a little bit trickier because eventually he sends in some backup thugs to try to distract you a little bit, but can't let that happen. Bottom line, you gotta take out Fisk, and after repeating this process several times, eventually he'll want to pound you right into the ground, damn, causing the whole freaking floor to collapse. And, oh yeah, I should have probably also addressed this, split-second decisional moments. Yeah, you get a lot of these in this game as well. So, yeah, I like the variety this game has. Freaking fall through the ceilings, still fight him, and then eventually he's apprehended. And that's just the first of several bosses in this game. You got a whole bunch of them. You got a whole city to take on. I mean, this map, yeah, it's pretty much built to scale from top to bottom. But it's not all unlocked enough to scale right away. No, to unlock it, and to be able to look at everything in much more detail, you have to climb these towers and unscramble these police surveillance antennas, which are scattered out to different parts of the city. Kinda reminds me of when you have to unlock different parts of the map of Hyrule on Breath of the Wild, but no, it's not nearly as hard when you climb up the towers, because, well, you're Spider-Man. Way easier. You can either climb up the buildings, like, really slow, but fastest way is to just run. Yeah, Spider-Man, Spider-Man. Running up a tower like a Spider-Man can. And you match the wavelengths. Not really too hard to figure out. It's best to do all this and get it out of the way. And yes, you come across crimes. Yes, there's random crimes in different sections of the city. It tells you when you complete one that you got this many out of this many crimes done. Side quests, there's tons of them in this game. The crimes are usually most of the time the stuff that you expect. Usually beatings, muggings, carjackings, car chases, people stuck inside of vehicles, kidnappings, People getting mugged on rooftops, drug deals, store robberies, you name it. There's tons of them in this game, and it's just so much fun to take all these thugs out. And, well, you get a crime token. Yes, you get many tokens in this game for completing various side quests. Not to jump the gun, but there's tons of them in this game. Like, going inside of these warehouses and taking all these thugs that run them down. Doing all these things for the Oscorp company, which, well, they don't realize is bad for the city because, well, it's polluting and doing all this harmful stuff to the airwaves and the environment. Taking pictures of landmarks? Yes, that's right. This game acknowledges as New York City just as much as any New York City lover would ever want it to. Well, I guess you could say me. I've been to New York City so many times, so it's really a treat for me to be able to play this game. Want to visit and climb up top of the Empire State Building without paying? There you go. Climb to the top of the antenna even? Yeah. Made a King Kong out of him right there. Chrysler Building? Yep. Grand Central? Yep. Though you can't go inside though, at least not till later on when you have one of the main missions in the game. I'll get to that in a little bit. But, yep. Times Square, Rockefeller Center, Radio City, Natural History Museum, Central Park, all there. How about Wall Street? Pretty cool. And even the Ghostbusters Firehouse. Damn, Boston makes me feel good. And yeah, they even put the Avengers Tower in here. Okay, I didn't realize this game was even movie licensed. It's not, obviously. It's probably just a little Easter egg. And yeah, this is not the only one. You got plenty of them, especially when picking up Peter Parker's backpack scattered across the city. Neat little side mission there. As for One World Trade Center, or as most people call it, the Freedom Tower, not in here. And neither is the World Trade Center Memorial Site found in things. I guess they just wanted to avoid controversy with that. You could do all sorts of side quests and favors for random people on the streets, even go through Times Square and high-five people and stuff. It's pretty cool. There's challenges, which of course you do in a timely manner, like getting to all these bombs, throwing them up in the air and defusing them with your sticky webs, taking out snipers, which wouldn't be too hard if, well, it wasn't under a timed manner. Yeah, I mean, I like to take my time with this kind of stuff. How about following these drones around, and web-slinging around the city and following these rings? Come on, you've seen this already out of another crappy superhero game. We don't need this in here. But it's not nearly as bad. And you get a combat challenge. Pretty self-explanatory, and I should add that all these challenges are for the one and only villain known as the Taskmaster, who you will eventually face several times in this game. And, well, let me tell you, he can put up quite a fight, but he's just a side villain, obviously. Getting back to the basic side missions, yes, there's other ones, like this guy who's looking for his pigeons, and you have to collect them that are flying throughout the city. Okay. There's even one where you find all these cameras at a high point, and you have to find the Black Cat thing. Okay. So, yeah, you get my point. There's tons of side quests. I probably missed a few. More pop up as you progress later on in the game, and I should probably mention this. Every time you beat any quest, find any items of any sort, you get XP points, which, well, ranks up your character. And yes, it's very key because it helps you unlock different abilities. There's 3 different categories, as you can tell. Not only that, you unlock different gadgets and upgrade them, but those require different tokens, as I explained before, by doing these various different side quests and stuff. And as well as the basic sticky webs, you get also different types, like the electric ones. You get all these different stuff, like the drones, and balls that can capture enemies, different traps. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun to use these on enemies. Even when you sneak around, it's just so cool, right? Yeah, it's so much fun. And tokens are also required for different upgrades and different types of suits, because, well, each one of them has different abilities, but you can hold about 3 of them. Yep, once you buy a new one, you replace one of the other ones that you already have open. As for suit designs, you got ones from, like, the animated version, different weird colors, Mr. Negative color, okay. But you also got cool ones, like the Stark one from Spider-Man Homecoming. And look at that, the one from Infinity War. Sweet. The game does feature an autosave option, but you can also do a manual save, which is what I do most of the time as well, just to assure that it saves at that point. And you notice how big the map is once you unlock every part of New York City? As well as setting a waypoint, like Grand Theft Auto-ish, You can get to a certain location instantly, well, with the exception of a glowed cutscene, kinda cool, is riding the subway, and you're there. You just gotta make sure it has these arrows on top of there, otherwise, well, it's not gonna work. But it helps.